I had somebody in my comment section say, hey, why don't you react to one of these FC25 videos that are, going around right now, like the Don't Be Tricked by FC25 or the Scary Truth about FC25, which is what this video is. I saw this one on Reddit, actually. I believe it was kind of gaining some traction, so I just kind of wanted to watch it and see what it's like and give some analysis on it and just kind of give my thoughts or whatever. If you guys would like to buy coins, you can go to MMOXP.com. There will be a link in the description. They are the cheapest and safest option. You can use my code JFC at checkout for a 5% discount. Well, I've not watched this. I've seen nothing of it, but okay, let's do it.
FIFA has been on a slow and miserable decay over the course of the last 7 to 8 years, and EA Sports has done absolutely nothing to fix it. And
I'm pausing at 9 seconds in. Well, to them, they haven't been because they're making more money. The player base, not as big, but they're making more money than ever. That's just a subjective opinion to them. Like, they would see this video and be like, well, that's not true because they make more money. Even if to everybody else it is true, but to them, it technically wouldn't be, right?
7 to 8 years, and EA Sports has done absolutely nothing to fix it. And I wouldn't expect them to make any positive changes anytime soon either. Call me a nostalgia merchant if you'd like, but FIFA 14, FIFA 15, and FIFA 17 do not even think
it's not nostalgia merchant.
This list. You can get out of here right now. FIFA 16 can go burn in the depths of hell for all I care. But 14, 15...
I wouldn't think it was that bad, but no, you're not being a nostalgia merchant, okay? I don't want to hear anything about this bullshit. Nostalgia merchant, all that, okay? 14, 15, 17, fantastic FIFAs. The reason I know it's not nostalgia merchant is because I have nostalgia towards playing Fortnite in my early 20s. Like, I have nostalgia about that. Like, I'm now, I wasn't a young kid anymore, and I want to go back to that. Like, yes, your childhood can really, like, enhance memories and make things way better than they actually were, but you can't chalk up everything to nostalgia. There's obviously some great things that we no longer have that were in these 3 games, right? And it's mainly just the gameplay. The gameplay was far more fun.
15 and 17 were the peak of this game. Those were the best iterations of FIFA, or EAFC 25, EAFC 24. That really rolls off the tongue well, doesn't it, EA?
I still think that was one of the worst names they could have made, honestly. It did fine, but that name is so unoriginal, it does not roll off the tongue.
We're all
He's right.
getting older, and the magic just isn't there like it once was in our youthful souls. I mean, to be honest, Christmas morning doesn't hit the same way at 26 than it did at 6. But the truth is, there are still games out there that make me feel like a kid again. And
yes, that's exactly my point.
None of them are created by EA Sports.
Correct.
This company has taken a franchise so beloved and just forced microtransactions and had a complete lack of ethics and morals and direction along the way, and turned what was once a great video game into something that feels more like a chore.
If a game feels like a chore to you, you need to drastically change the way you play the game or stop playing it altogether. I'll make a video about that probably another time too, talking about just how to enjoy FIFA again. I think I said that yesterday too, but anyway. How long will this video be? In a 9-minute video? How many times am I going to pause it?
And one reason I consider it a chore now is because 90% of your time is spent on an SBC menu. SBC standing for Squad Building Challenges, which is exactly what they once were. Challenges, puzzles. Trying to complete it took some thought, building the chemistry and rating needed, and then you got some good rewards. But over the years, that has completely changed. The rewards have become untradeable.
That is true.
And the squad building challenges are no longer challenges. It's just a rating that you need. And sometimes you need 20 or 30 different windows to get the player that you want. And after spending hours recycling players, doing squad building challenge after challenge, then you end up with the player. And when you go into a game, you remember you didn't really want this player for the gameplay anyway, because it's not fun. You just wanted him so that you could collect a card for your ultimate team.
And that is kind of like where people might disagree with him and say, well, I actually like the card collecting aspect of it. I like doing that. I'm trying to put myself in like EA's shoes where they try and think of an excuse for every single point made up in this video, right? Trying to think of where they would say, well, actually, no. And that's kind of what they would probably say here is people like the card collecting aspect and people like being in the menus that much of the time. People right now are forced to be in there because the gameplay sucks. I think that's kind of what he's trying to say here. They're not willingly doing it. They're kind of like they want to play the game, so they have to be in the menus because the gameplay is terrible. So we've had crazy good menu content. I've had years where I played 80% in the menus and loved every second of it. FIFA 19 mainly, like the only year actually, because you could actually grind and make coins in that game. But let's hear him finish the point, I guess.
Play is no longer reliable. It's not a fun experience at all. And the microtransactions just prey on a children's gambling addiction. And that's all Ultimate Team is at this point. And because this somehow legal child casino is the main game mode that EA Sports make their money on, that is exactly where all of their resources and focus goes, to pump out new promo after new promo to try to get more microtransactions out of you. But since the other game modes like Pro Clubs and Career Mode don't have these microtransactions, they get left behind.
They do now.
And even though lots of people enjoy these game modes as their main game mode, it's been the same thing year after year after year with no significant changes.
That's exactly correct. But actually, this year, we had a season pass that's all encompassing this year. We had microtransactions in career mode, pro clubs, and rush, or whatever the fuck, everything. Okay, we're adding it out all this year. Maybe we will see some changes. We won't.
So here's the question. Will EAFC 25 be any different? You see, I've been playing this game for over a decade now, and that wasn't like a fun thing for me to say. It didn't feel good when the words came out of my mouth just now, but it's the unfortunate truth, and I've been through a lot with this company.
And not to interrupt his point here, but I think he's a YouTuber. I think this is Elite, right? Isn't that who this is? I could be wrong. He's been a content creator for many, many years. Like, you have to enjoy the game to a certain extent to make videos on it for a decade, right? You have to acknowledge the good stuff, and I'm sure he's going to. Like, I just cut him off here, but I guess let's just hear what he has to say about it.
EA Sports during that time. In fact, I was even part of the EA Game Changer Network for a couple of years. I was one of the Golden Boys, which even surprised me, given the fact that I had been leading a boycott of FIFA points for the past couple of years. I had pledged to never buy FIFA points ever again. I had publicly shamed them over and over and even made skits making fun of their employees. Yet a couple of the community managers liked me. I thought that they were genuinely good people trying to make the game better, so I took the opportunity that they gave me. I flew all the way out.
That's what I think that some viewers forget. People actually might have had good intentions behind going out there for the first time, but once you go out there once or twice and it's like, okay, if nothing changes at that point, you know the intentions are not good anymore. And also, you might be surprised that EA reached out to him when he was doing this stuff. I'm not actually too surprised about that, because they're probably thinking, hey, if we can get him on like kind of our better side here, he won't be making fun of us as much if he ends up a big creator one day. Bad PR for us, and we can kind of get him on the right track, perhaps. But yeah, sometimes people forget there are some people who do have good intentions behind going there and want to make a change, and not just there for obviously the wrong reasons. I want the game early, I want early access, I want FC points, I want yada yada yada, right?
Germany, EA Sports paid for the flight, the hotel, a food stipend, and let me record FIFA 20 a month before it came out for my YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's massive.
I got to meet some of the other biggest creators in the scene. It truly was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. But I did sign a non-disclosure agreement. Yep. I can't tell you anything that the EA employees and I discussed during that trip. But what I will tell you is that the two community managers that I do respect still to this day left EA Sports shortly after that.
That's the thing too. Most of the time, the EA employees you guys will even interact with are not going to be the ones who are actually making these terrible decisions for us. Like, that's probably not the case, right? The people they talk to have probably such little power over what actually happens. The people that they need to be talking to, you don't even know their names, right? You don't know their faces, you don't know their names. Those are the people that they should be talking to, that they need to be talking to, that they will never be talking to.
And I also left the EA Game Changer Network on my own accord because I don't think that their morals match mine. And sure, I could have stayed in the EA Creator Network for a couple more years, maybe taken advantage of the trips that they took to London with the Game Changers, to Vancouver with the headquarters where several creators have gone. I could have continued to get the Ultimate Edition of the game for free every single year and played it, recorded content for it several days before anybody else had their hands on it.
That's a big deal.
Huge advantage as a content creator. But every single bit of that would have been on EA's dime, which is a dime that I don't respect because, quite frankly, they are an evil company preying on the gambling addiction of their consumers, and they don't really care about their average consumer. They don't care about fixing any of the bugs or glitches that happen within the game or on the menus. As long as the store is working and they are pumping out and throwing everything at the wall, Harry Maguire can play striker, I don't care. As long as it gets people to buy another 700k promo pack with FC points, that's all they care about.
Well, yes, to a certain extent, completely correct. I think obviously the like having Harry Maguire at striker when we're in August, I don't give a shit about that, honestly. You can suspend some realism in Ultimate Team. Okay, we're dealing with Pele playing with Graham Hansen. I mean, like, the realism is suspended already, if you're okay with that. So that's not the point, though. The point was that they are doing anything for a dime, which is exactly correct. He just kind of gave a bad example to me, but the point is completely correct.
On top of all of this, during my time as an EA Game Changer, I would try to positively change the game by posting in the dead dedicated EA Game Changer Discord, where the admins and EA employees could see it, and I would post about these market glitches or price range errors or unjust bans given out to the community, because the ban system was broken, and it still is to this day.
Yep.
But every single time I would post in there, I would be met with crickets. I would be met with silence. Absolutely no response from anybody, because none of these issues directly affected their bottom line. So they didn't feel a need to actually give it the time of day.
And the thing is that there were a lot of creators that were in the network, right? You had, like, I think Mad HD Gamer, you had AA9 Skills, I want to say, was in there, and obviously Elite was in there as well. People who are still in it are more of the problem, right? They know by now their word is not doing much. In fact, doing fucking nothing. They're still in there. It feels like it's more along the lines of, I'm only doing it because I get early access and you don't. I get those sweet, sweet YouTube views and that sweet, sweet revenue check, and you don't. Whereas if you were in it for a year or two trying to actually make changes, like, that makes sense. And then you're no longer in it because you realize it doesn't do anything. That, to me, like, that deserves no criticism at all. People who are still in it 6 years later after it first was introduced, that's a problem. That's the issue.
No matter what I posted, it wouldn't be replied to, and it wouldn't be looked into. These issues that I would post 5 years ago are still prevalent in the game today, and
all of them too.
Only seem to be getting worse. When it comes to gameplay, the server issues have always been prevalent. It seems like EA can't support the amount of players who play on Friday and Saturday, so in the weekend league, it feels like you're playing in mud. There are
and you know this whole debate. I don't even know if it's server tied, honestly. It's just the implemented the shit coding of the gameplay, the legacy code.
FCS qualifiers from the professional players, in which it seems like the host just wins every single game because the other player is just lagging too much. There are very big gameplay content creators like Inception who have said FC24 without content is a solid -10 out of 10. And as somebody who spends more time on the menus, I'll tell you what, the content isn't all that great either. Over the course of the last few FIFAs in FC24, the power curve has quickly begun to destroy the game sooner and sooner. It seems like
it'll happen again this year.
Overwhelming amount of promos that these cards get out of the meta almost immediately. The best gold cards in the game you can't even use a few weeks after release. And every single month...
Weeks. And he's right. Weeks after release.
A new promo could drop, and by the next month, it's just not usable anymore. Even Team of the Year, which is almost impossible to pack now. Even if you saved tens of millions of coins, you might get lucky and get the Team of the Year goalkeeper, but actually packing Team of the Years is basically impossible. And then, come June, July, the Team of the Year cards are free, and on top of that, what are supposed to be the best cards of the year, which is Team of the Year, are actually out of the meta, and there's better 98 and 99 overall cards with far more playstyle plus that completely drown them out. So why would you want to spend so much time and so much money and so much effort getting an ultimate team by the end of January when you know that none of those players are going to be usable come June?
And this is why, I mean, even if you think logically, if you're spending FC points, it's even illogical, even ignoring the gambling, like, predatory aspect, it still doesn't make a whole lot of sense to even spend money on the game because you're always behind constantly. You're always behind. Even when you're free to play, you're behind. You pay money, you're still behind. So what's the point in spending FC points?
Every single player you can get 99 rated at the end of the year would be your ultimate team, and at that point they're basically free from repeatable squad building challenges and spending hours and hours just recycling and recycling. The experience, it's dying. But I'll admit, I still enjoy the game early on, in October, November, maybe December. But by the time Team of the Year rolls around and builds up all the hype just to tear us all down, I'm just about done with the game. And if my gaming...
This is where I think that EA can actually revive a lot of this stuff. I'm not saying it'll ever happen because they care too much about their bottom dollar and addicting people, but if they actually cared, the passion for FIFA, I feel like is still there in many parts of the community. If you go back and watch a flashback video of somebody going back to FIFA 21, it'll have 400, 500,000 views. People don't even think about that FIFA kindly. Like, it just shows you people reminisce so much on what they used to be. The power curve going this quickly is so bad for the game to me. I think people are just tired of it by month 2 or 3 now. And that didn't used to be the case. People used to be, oh my God, team of the season time. This is the best time of the year now. Now, month 2 or 3, team of the year's passed and they're like, yeah, I'm kind of over it at this point.
Channel wasn't an indication of that. I basically stopped uploading videos in January this year because I just could not play that game anymore. And I just decided to make this YouTube channel because it's a lot more fun than playing that game in June. But the truth is, FIFA 14 wasn't like this. I played that game from day one all the way until the very end, and I probably would have played it for a few more months if I needed to. It was spectacular from beginning to end. It had me captivated in every single promo, and even if there were weeks without a promo, it was balanced.
Because there were other things to do in the game as well. Casual game modes, hop into a game and play to get some rewards in that were not the sweatiest games of all time, so you had to get the best players ever all the time because the gameplay sucked, and then you feel like if you don't have the best players, then you're not going to be able to ever compete because the gameplay sucks. Balance is actually a good way to put it.
FIFA 15 came along, and that was great. Price ranges did taper it out a little bit sooner than 14 maybe, but FIFA 17 from the beginning to the end.
Yep.
But over the course of the last few years, FIFA 18 died a little bit sooner, and then 19 was, oh my god, it was terrible. And 20,
19 gameplay, horrendous. Menu content was so insanely good that we will never see another thing like that again. EA knew they fucked up because the menu content was so good and rewarding for people who grinded it.
21, 22, 23, 24, at this point, they're all blending together, and sooner am I getting bored of the game. And a lot of that is just down to the fact that EA do not care. As long as they're getting FC points, as long as they're making money off microtransactions.
What kind of FC points?
Well, why would they listen to me? So to loop back around and answer the question, will FC 25 be any different?
Super different.
The answer is no.
And this is the thing, right? Looking at EA's perspective here, they'll say you never mention anything positive about the game. You say you play the game every year, right? So clearly you must love stuff about it. That would be right. I'm sure he does love a lot of things about it. He didn't talk about it in this video. That's kind of how I am as well. I'm very passionate about this game. I think in its prime is one of my favorite gaming experiences of my life, honestly, when FIFA was in its prime. And I still love so many aspects in it. I just think that there were the bad aspects to EA and FC are so bad that it needs to be talked about more. Like child gambling, honestly, I think that's honestly the most important part of the boycott FC point movement is the fact that there's no age limit on FIFA points. Once again, I know most of my people watching my channel, because we're such diehard FIFA fans, if you're watching a smaller channel like mine, that you're gonna buy the game. All I'm imploring you to do, and this is what I'm gonna do as well, I'm going to buy this game. Microtransactions, how they make 80+% of their cash. Do not spend a fucking dime on FC points. That's the most important thing I think we can all take away from all of this stuff, that we cannot support the gambling aspects of this game, the predatory, psychological manipulation, gambling aspects of this game. And let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'll read you guys' comments tomorrow. Not today. I've been yapping enough already. I'm gonna be late as is. I apologize for being late. Let me know what you think. I love you all. Since ever so. Peace.